Devour feculence.
Unfortunate news, Season 2 of Severance has just ended, and if you love the show as much as I do, you know why it absolutely sucks, because the show is so good. Today, I'm going to be breaking down my thoughts on the entire Season 2, what I liked, what I didn't like, and giving a final review at the end. Don't worry, this is completely spoiler-free, but the comment section's open. I'd love to hear what were your thoughts of this season. If you agree or disagree, let me know below. So, Severance is probably one of the best shows, honestly, that I've seen in recent time. One of the most unique premises. It basically takes the idea of your home life and your work life being severed in half and takes it to a whole nother level by literally having a procedure where a person's life is basically cut in half. You have the work version of yourself, which is considered your innie, and then you have your outside real life version called an outie. So the show kind of adapts and evolves with this simple yet unique premise and really begs the question, what exactly makes you you? It's so interesting and creative the way that they're able to take this storyline that I haven't seen anything like it and just build on it to an existential level. Now, Season 2 is slower, but offers a couple of answers and a lot more questions as the show goes on. Season 2 follows the aftermath of the MDR rebellion that occurs at the end of Season 1. I won't go into detail to avoid spoilers, but yeah, this season takes place right after that, and it really begs a lot more questions. I think that the overall pacing of this second season was a lot slower. In the first season, it is slower, but I felt like it had sort of a crescendo where it got more and more interesting as the show went on, and then the final couple of episodes are excellent, with the last episode being great. And this one kind of mirrors that as well, except for me, it takes a lot longer as the show goes on to get to that point. So a couple of highlighted episodes that I really like were Woe's Hollow and the final episode titled Cold Harbor. Now, I really thought those two episodes were excellent. The final episode, I absolutely loved it. I feel like the final episode is what's going to bring my score a little higher than I was originally going to give it. Again, don't get me wrong, I love the season, but it was a lot slower. But the final episode really just came in and solidified it once again. That's the Severance we know and love. So while none of the episodes are flat out bad, I feel like a lot of them are, again, a lot slower paced. I'm not expecting it to be super fast paced. I completely understand that there's exposition going on and all that stuff, so I get it. But there were a couple of episodes that I thought that they could have spent more time focusing on more interesting characters rather than some side characters. There's one episode in particular, which is the low light for me of the entire season, called Sweet Vitriol, which basically just follows Harmony Cobell for 37 minutes. It's a complete filler episode. I made an entire rant video about it. Click the eye on the screen right now to check it out. But yeah, the entire episode was a just big filler. Honestly, you could have deleted this episode from the season and it wouldn't have meant anything. It really was just a quick backstory and a little more information on Harmony Cobell, which is sort of a villain type character, at least in the first portion of this Severance story that we know so far. She's more of a villain, but obviously her character kind of transforms as the show goes on. But that particular episode 8, which is at the very tail end of the season where we're supposed to be wrapping up and answering all the questions it's continued to put on us. So that was really the only low light episode. All the other ones were either decent or very good. So as the season went on, one thing that I was starting to notice is that there were already quite a bit of unanswered questions at the end of Season 1, and Season 2 only continued to add more questions rather than answers, which is completely fine. I enjoy the mystery aspect of the show, and it doesn't spoon feed or tell you all the answers at once. There's a lot of different moving parts that are going on, so I totally get it. But one thing I was noticing is that they continue to add more and more questions rather than provide answers as the show went on. Now, thankfully, at the very end, this last episode and the one before, you get a little more information, along with episode 7 as well, which a lot of people liked, called Chikai Bardo. That one a lot of people liked. I thought it was good. People really raved about it. it, but that episode and the last two really just started to answer a little more questions, which was good. I was glad to see that. Now let's talk about the technicalities of the show. How's the cinematography? How's the acting? Top of the line. Honestly, I think the show has an incredible look to it, cinematography wise. It just looks beautiful. I love the final episode, has some amazing cinematography, especially the very end. I love the last shot, the credit sequences. It has a great vibe to it. Everything from the main theme intro to the outro to the music that they use, everything really is there to add and elevate the story even further. So I think quality wise, in terms of the technicalities of it, it's excellent. I think it's great. Moving on to the acting, I think that all the best shows out there, or my favorite shows at least, always have an incredible cast of characters and really just have people or actors in them that you really can't see anyone else playing that role, and that's when you know you've struck gold. You've caught lightning in a bottle when you have the perfect casting for these characters, and I think Severance is one of those shows. Every single person in it really just embodies their characters, and you completely forget that these are actors. You're completely immersed in this world that they've created, and the actors just help push that even further and further. I think Adam Scott is an incredible pick for the lead character, Mark S. I think he has the look to him, he has the vibe that he seems like an office worker, and a lot of these characters, the main four at least, have to play basically two versions of themselves, so it's so impressive in that way. Britt Lauer as Helly R is phenomenal. I think she's one of the best characters in the show, very complex. And Zach Cherry as Dylan does an excellent job. John Turturro, which unfortunately we don't see too much of him at the latter half of season 2. Unfortunately, he's an excellent actor as well. I mean, on and all, they really just, everybody encompasses their roles so well. And probably my favorite, which we can't forget him, Mr. Milchick, Trammell Tillman. Excellent actor. I don't know, I haven't seen this guy in anything else, but he needs to be in a lot more movies or TV shows, because this guy completely sells the role of Mr. Milchick, probably one of my favorite characters in the show, honestly. Super dynamic, very animated, and he's doing everything, honestly. He's dancing, he's laying down the law, he's screaming, he's doing the whole 9 yards. He's going hammy in the last episode. You gotta watch it if you haven't. But yeah, honestly, amazing casting in that department. No complaints there whatsoever. Now, in terms of the storyline, the show does sort of focus its attention on certain things that don't really end up playing a bigger role. Besides the filler episode I was talking about as well, we have, you know, this emphasis on Miss Huang as well as one of the side characters in there, and other things that happen throughout that at the end of it, you're wondering why they were focusing on certain things. And I don't know if this particular character is going to have more of a role in the next season. You never know, but sometimes you wonder why they make the decisions they do, because this is definitely one of those shows that they're very deliberate in everything that they decide to show and everything they decide to write in there. So when you do have characters like Miss Huang, maybe, for example, it really begs the question, why did they decide to take time to show us that, right? So that's just something to keep in mind, and something that I found pretty interesting. Again, I can't really comment because we may not have seen the last of Miss Huang, you know, but maybe we have, maybe we haven't. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that. But honestly, this my biggest problem was just the pacing of it. I felt like there were a lot of slower episodes at the beginning of the season, especially when you're coming off the high of the finale in the last season. It does slow down. Again, I'm expecting it to slow down. Usually, like, that's the trajectory of a lot of shows. It typically kind of slows down in the first few episodes of the new season. So I totally get that, but I wish they would have ramped it up a little bit faster when it came to the midway point and, you know, finishing off this last track of episodes, the very end, episode 7, 8, 9, 10, you know. But besides that, though, I think that the final episode really is the Severance that you know and love. Best episode of the season, really brings it all together and just gives it off, ends it off on a high note, and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen in the next season. But all in all, again, another quality season from an excellent show, one of the best, honestly, out right now. Personally, I can't recommend it enough. So if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching it. So with all that in mind, I'm going to be giving Severance Season 2 a solid 8 out of 10. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, stay up to date with the latest movie reviews and other stuff just like this.